Chapter 74 Laws of Liability and Restitution, Part 1. Exodus chapter 22, verses 1 to 16. If a man shall steal an ox or a sheep and kill it, or sell it, he shall restore 5 oxen for an ox, and 4 sheep for a sheep. If a thief be found breaking up, and be smitten that he die, there shall no blood be shed for him. If the sun be risen upon him, there shall be blood shed for him, for he should make full restitution. If he have nothing, then he shall be sold for his theft. If the theft be certainly found in his hand alive, whether it be ox, or ass, or sheep, he shall restore double. If a man shall cause a field or vineyard to be eaten, and shall put in his beast, and shall feed in another man's field, of the best of his own field, and of the best of his own vineyard, shall he make restitution. If fire break out and catch in thorns, so that the stacks of corn, or the standing corn, or the fields be consumed therewith, he that kindleth the fire shall surely make restitution. Exodus chapter 22, verses 1 to 6. These verses continue the laws of liability and restitution, and we are told of the character of restitution. In the first case, verse 1, the theft of farm animals is cited to illustrate the premise of the law. Restitution is to be governed by the value of the thing stolen. An ox had particularly great value in antiquity because of several factors. Much training went into making him a beast of burden, that is, pulling a plough or hauling freight. While an oxen team was slow, its ability to pull heavy loads far surpassed that of horses. It was also valuable for its hide and for its meat. It was the most important single farm animal in some cultures. Restitution for the theft of an ox had to be 5-fold. For sheep, it was 4-fold. Sheep provided wool and meat and were next in importance to oxen. There is a reference to such restitution in 2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 6. The premise in such restitution is the present and future value of the thing stolen. The reproductive capacity of the animal is also taken into consideration. The second case, verse 2, refers to a thief breaking in during the night, whether into the house, into the barn, or into the sheep pen. In the dark, it's not possible to see if the man is armed or unarmed. If he be killed, no guilt is incurred by the property owner or any member of his household. The words by breaking in are literally by the digging through of a wall. Since many houses, sheds, and barns were made of adobe, it was possible to break through the walls. This fact itself indicated evil intent, and the householder was not held liable for killing the thief. The third case, verse 3, concerns a daylight theft. In such an instance, the man breaking in might have assumed that no man was present. To kill such a thief, except in self-defense, was not permitted, and it would result in a murder charge. Cattle rustlers today often kill the cow or steer in the field and then load the carcass into their truck. This makes the meat anonymous, the hide having been left behind. In verse 3, full restitution is required of all such thieves, even when caught in the act. If restitution were not made, the thief was sold as a slave. In the fourth case, verse 4, reference is made to a thief caught with the stolen animals still alive. In such an instance, restitution was double, not 4-fold or 5-fold. This was true whether or not the thief was caught in the day or surrendered at night before being killed. The premise of these laws should now be apparent. Crime was not to be profitable. The old proverb, "crime does not pay," had reference to biblical law. Under modern status laws, it definitely pays. God's law intends to penalize the sinner and protect the just by the law of restitution. In the fifth case, verse 5, the offence, whether intentional or not, carries the same penalty. A man's animal might break loose, enter another man's field or vineyard, and do considerable damage in the course of one night. Or the owner might put his animal in a neighbour's field. Then and now, more than a few lawless men have placed an animal in a neighbour's field and then removed it before dawn. In Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 8, we have a telling reference to such acts. "Whoso breaketh an hedge, a serpent shall bite him." The hedge means a hedge fence. Until recently, these were common in certain parts of England. The hedge fence in antiquity would be made up of trees, hedges, thorn bushes, and the like. It would be therefore a natural habitat for birds and small animals, and it would also attract snakes. To break through a hedge fence was thus to risk snakebite. Solomon's point is that even as breaking through a hedge fence is to invite a snakebite, so to break God's law is to invite and ensure judgment. In this instance, restitution was specific. The guilty man, whether the offence was intended or not, had to make restitution in kind from his own farm. If he had the equivalent grain, vines, or whatever else were destroyed. If not, restitution was made in other ways. This law made necessary the maintenance of good fences and gates to prevent one's animals from breaking out. A man was responsible for what his animals did, and hence the necessity of careful fencing. In the sixth case, verse 6, again a man is responsible for the consequences of his actions, whether or not they are intentional. If a fire that a man has lighted to burn up weeds, trash, or anything else gets out of control, that man is responsible for the consequences of the fire. Arson may not have been intended, but destruction occurred as a result of something he did. His neighbour's standing grain, whether in shocks or in the field, is destroyed, and restitution must thus be made. This case deals specifically with destroyed grain, and then, more than now, grain provided the mainstay for life. As Joseph Parker wrote, "Destroyed bread is destroyed life." In this case, he that kindleth the fire shall surely make restitution. We are not given a specific number for the restitution, whether double or fivefold. There is a very good reason for this. The value of the grain varied from year to year. In a year of food shortages, a field of grain would have far more value than in times of plenty. The subject of restitution has been largely ignored in our century, and even earlier. Biblical scholars ignore the subject, or if they comment on it, their statements sometimes make no sense. Thus, Poucher said, "In New Testament morals, it was taught that the guilt of theft could not be compounded by restitution. In restitution, as well as in all offences and punishments, innocent family members could not be penalised for a father's sin." Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 16. One form of restitution is that which applies to false witness. In such cases, the penalty which would have fallen on the innocent person is applied to the false witness. This can mean restitution in kind or the death penalty in some cases. Deuteronomy chapter 19, verses 15 to 21. In cases of false witness, there was to be no pity for the guilty witness. Deuteronomy chapter 19, verse 21. God's law differs from status law in its objective. Man's law often seeks the reformation of the criminal, whereas God's law has justice in mind and the restoration of God's order. Where the focus becomes reformation, justice is replaced by concern for the potential welfare of the criminal. The result is a serious warping of society and of justice. This is why Deuteronomy chapter 19, verse 21 is so emphatic. And thine eye shall not pity, but life shall go for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. The focus of the law must be God's order, God's justice. It cannot be even the welfare of the godly. What we are seeing in modern society is an undue concern for the rights of criminals, of animals, and of much else, resulting in what Cornelius Van Til so tellingly described as integration downward into the void.